Can anybody hear me?
Okay, is that better, Larry? Okay, can
we
you
hear
say
you?
something?
Oh, that's worse.
He's
Well, he's muted.
He's muted. There you go.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Okay.
Okay. We have a quorum and I'll call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the pledge of allegiance.
We have our little flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, Donna's here on Zoom. Hi, Donna. We just did the pledge. You didn't miss this meeting. We're just gonna start roll call.
Uh,
She's on mute also.
okay. I'm Tim Shoggs here.
And we just say our names for the recording since the minutes are AI generated.
Bridget Sorensen is here.
David Hatcher.
Larry Gonzalez on Zoom.
Donna Medica, Zoom.
Robin Doty, library director, and
Aaron Dumbrow, ex officio.
Yes, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, man, I hope we all reviewed and approved the minutes. Any questions or additions to the minutes from our previous meeting, April 16th? No. Any additions or questions about tonight's agenda? No. So, if I could have a.
Okay, I move we adopt the consent agenda, please.
I second.
Okay, we've moved to, David has moved to adopt the consent agenda and Bridget seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, good. First thing on our agenda is our new city councilman, Aaron Dumbrow. We will introduce ourselves, but you're willing to introduce yourself first if you like.
And I don't have any public comment,
Oh, yeah.
just to say.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so Aaron Dumbrow, I've been here in North Plains about 3 years now. I grew up in a much smaller community, can you believe that, in outside of Dexter, Oregon. So my first library was a bookmobile. And so I read every book and I drove the poor librarian nuts because I kept asking for more books. I
Here,
was homeschooled, so I like to read a lot. So, and I still like to read. So yeah, I love the library. I still have stuff shipped here, which I do appreciate the Washington County Collective Library Service. And yeah, I appreciate you having me.
Great. Well, thank you for being here. I'm Tim Scheik. I'm an outside the city limits representative. I think we're 3 and 4, 3 outside and 4 within the city limits. I'm the chair of the library board, and my chair term is up in July. And this will be my 4-year term is up in July. And I plan on reapplying for another 4-year term. I worked first thing I knew, I'd volunteered at the library. And then I applied for a board position, but Bridget had done a lot more work than I did, so I had to go back and get some more work. And then when another opening came, I was able to become on the board. So it's been a great thing. We take a lot of pride in the library. We think that the community takes a lot of pride in the library, and we work hard to maintain the support of the community and and maintain the standards that the community has set. And I think we all believe that in a small rural community, that the library is a center for community gatherings, community events, and just overall well-being in the community, much more important in a small rural community than maybe a library is in a larger city, so. That's me. And
Okay, I feel like a little deja vu, maybe. So I've been in North Plains for 44 years. My big thing is that I'm most happy about in life right now is paid off my house. I'm not big about, yeah.
So good.
So, I'm on the board of the Friends of the Library. And this is my, I've been on this board for two periods, my third.
After like a 2-year break.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's several year break. It's just, for me, my heart is just really important to serve the community and I can do this. And I guess that's it.
I'm Bridget Sorensen. I've only been here 36 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you really, I mean, that matters around here.
It does, yeah,
Doesn't
you
it?
see a lot of changes.
Indeed. This is my second term on the board, and I'm also a volunteer, which I've been doing the volunteering longer than the board, I guess, yeah. And yet the library is very important. There's so many things that, we do in the library, which a lot of people don't realize. You volunteer and you find out all sorts of stuff that you didn't realize before.
Okay, Donna?
Okay, hi, I'm Donna and I have been involved with the library, not from the very start, but I was a volunteer a long time ago. Then I was staff. Then I've been on the board and I'm completing my first term and I was on the Friends for a while. And I live outside of North Plains like Tim does, so.
Oh, I live outside too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Donna's famous because she was in the Washington Post walking her dog in photo.
Oh, might have to go do some
That's her
archive
claim
diving.
to fame.
It is.
Okay, Larry?
Hi, Larry Gonzalez. I have been in North Plains 11 years. I live in town. I've been on the board of libraries all over the United States. And now I'm on the board of the North Plains Library. And happy to do so. Looking forward to the vote this fall, and so want to get involved in that, making sure that happens for the levy, and very excited about that, and excited to be going out of the country for about well, we say 3 weeks, but if it goes 3 months, I'm okay with that.
Wow.
Amazing.
So, Councilman Aaron, when Larry goes out of the country, our circulation goes down. Based on what we heard about you as a young man, maybe you could,
I'll try
you
to.
guys could communicate when
Yes,
he's gone,
yeah,
and you can come
exactly.
in and
I'll
pick us
just do all
up,
the
so we
votes.
don't have any of these dives like.
Well, to be
we have.
fair, the Livy app is dangerous because I can get all my audiobooks now.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm very grateful for that.
yeah,
yes.
well, we get credit for that.
Yeah.
We do.
Okay.
I do,
Oh, good.
I do
Yep.
do the same thing,
Those
so that's
checkouts
good.
are counted for
Very
North
good.
Plains as long as your card is registered North
I think
Plains.
it is.
Okay,
Also,
so
I'll just say absent, we have, or coming later,
is
Ali
Ally-
Pollock. And Nandu is absent. I don't remember if I got an RSVP, but we have a member who lives in the Bryn Hill community, one of actually the first house
Oh.
that was built there. And has a young child, so I'm guessing maybe something came up or not sure, or maybe I have something in my email that I missed, but.
And they're both they're Ally and Nandu are both in city representatives.
Oh, right, yes.
Allie's almost my backyard neighbor.
Oh.
okay.
Oh, okay.
And Nandu is across the street and down
Oh, yeah.
down a block.
Yeah, exactly. I
Oh,
forgot
yeah.
about that.
Right, cause I know
Of course,
where
Bryn
Ali
Hill,
lives
yeah.
near the elementary school.
Yeah, I'm over on.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay,
anything to add to that? No. Okay, so the library director's report?
All right, I'm just gonna share my screen. Maybe.
Some of this will be in that packet here. too.
Yeah, I have it on my phone.
Oh,
Oh, I
okay,
can steal this one.
yeah,
Oh, good. I'll just use this.
Yeah, I accidentally printed the whole thing. I was trying to print the agenda,
Okay.
so then we ended up. Um, Sorry, the sharing's being weird. Can you see the agenda now, those of you online?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, I hope you've had a chance to read the report, and I will say that the two new tables for the children's are in there now. Public Works assembled them today and we switched them out, and that was, our holiday craft fair. We asked the Friends to run it, to start running it, and they ran it, this past holiday season for the first time, and, so then we requested those funds to go towards, more tables for the children's area, so I actually, when we do our new signage, I'm getting some little custom stickers to thank them that we can put on the tables. That I don't even think he's gonna charge for them because, we're doing a sign order through the grant. So that'll be neat, a neat way to recognize, the Friends for those. Tomorrow, Pete Chiropractic has the Spring into Wellness Fair, and we're gonna have a library table there. And they've chosen the library for their recipient of their fundraising that they do at that event. And so, we'll be getting some materials that we wouldn't be able to afford in our regular budget. So that's really, and a really nice way for them to give back to the community for more things to check out for community members. I did present to the city council in a work session, with an overview of what our library provides, who we provide it to, how much it costs and who pays for it. My little 30-minute, spiel. So, I worked on the budget for multiple hours today. I had a budget meeting with Bill and Dustin this morning. We're just making some changes. I'll talk about that later, but budget is our main thing on the agenda today, so I'll talk a little bit more about that. Our library in-service morning was wonderful. We had it facilitated by the same person. We worked on what are people's personal values and how those show up at work when you're doing your best work and so forth. And really, that was the second year in a row we did that on Library Workers Day, and the Friends treated us to breakfast, which was really nice also, again. So those are the things that were on my report. Now I have a few things that came up since I wrote this that I'm really excited to share. And one is that we have selected our new library supervisor.
Oh.
After a very competitive interview process, 28 applicants, which was the most I've ever had. And we narrowed it down to 12 who were qualified with both library and supervisory experience. And then the 3 full-time staff reviewed those 12 and they had the same top 5. All 3 of them with independent review had the same top 5. I said, well, those are the 5 we're going to interview then. And so, after the interviews, we had 2 that were sort of tied for the job with very different, they were very different applicants. They had strengths in different areas. So as the tiebreaker, we had them come to the Noodles and Doodles event. And we had 4 volunteers who volunteered at the volunteer appreciation event, to chat with the candidates. And then I took that as additional feedback, and we did choose to promote Jason Crane, our on-call library assistant, who had taken the full-time job at Forest Grove. And so Jason was still filled in once in a while at our library. And he has he has supervisory experience. He was the manager of the Aladdin Theater in Portland.
No,
And he still actually books stuff for them. He lives in North Plains.
Yes.
He's like a 5-minute drive from the library. And Miss Kim likes him. We won't put that
What more?
in.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's our joke. And I think even she would laugh because
Yeah.
he's like, Miss Kim loves me. I'm like, yeah. And
and who
it's
like?
Miss
the,
Kim,
the Kim's Market owner.
Oh,
the liquor
And so
store.
that is high praise, I'll just say, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, very, very pleased. I have to say I was biased towards him from the beginning a little, but I wanted to make sure we did the process. But I'm thrilled, and he signed the offer letter. We went over that Monday. So he'll start on the 28th
oh, good.
as our library supervisor. He gave 2 weeks' notice. They kind of knew his boss at Forest Grove is Dustin's wife. It's a very small
No.
world. Our public works director's
Oh,
wife
boy.
was Jason's boss there. So anyway, so very exciting. And then the other exciting thing is that Brianna Sawinski, our full-time librarian, was accepted into the Leadership Institute of the Oregon Library Association.
Oh,
And that is LEOLA, is what they call it, Leadership
Leola.
Institute, Oregon Library Association. And so that is really wonderful. It's a competitive application. I wrote her letter of support, and this is, it is in July and August. She'll go to Welch's for a kickoff 2-day retreat, and then she'll have several
Welch's, Oregon?
Welch's, like Mount Hood.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Well,
It's close, yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
but, and the Friends have a professional development budget, and they're gonna pay for her participation.
Wow.
oh, great.
So will she have to take some time off then for that, or
I mean,
just work her schedule?
those 2-day kickoff, she'll be in Welch's working there, and then, she has the rest of it is on, Allie's here. The rest of it is on Zoom.
Oh,
Sorry, Allie, I hope you weren't waiting very long. I was talking and not paying attention to the screen. Welcome, hi.
Hi.
But those are my 2 other exciting bits of news.
Great.
Really wonderful.
Yeah. Did Ally hear that?
Oh, Allie, I had,
New supervisor?
so our new supervisor is Jason Crane. He's already on staff on call, but he got a full-time job at Forest Grove, and now he's coming back. I told them I'd steal him back, anyway. It was a very competitive process, and so Jason will be our new supervisor starting the 28th. And then the other good news was Brianna is going to be in the Leadership Institute for the Oregon Library Association, LEOLA. So,
Can I just?
Oh,
just a
yes.
quick question. So will she like be working to become like a library director? Like I'm just curious, what's her?
yeah, that would
That's so
be.
cool.
I asked the same question.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
So I would
That's
say,
great.
you kind of in libraries, you have the sort of
Yeah.
the, like operational path more, and then you have the more, managerial path, I'm gonna say. And so, yes, this would be a next step for her being a manager.
So
Yeah.
we're growing our little communities
Yeah.
and sending them into the world someday.
Or they can be
Or they
here,
can stay
you know,
here.
you never
She
know.
doesn't go far.
Well,
But,
eventually, yes,
A-
fair.
Actually, we have a history of doing
I was
exactly.
afraid of
Yeah.
that.
I'm very proud of the career path we've been able to have for our outstanding
great.
staff.
Wow.
So
And then,
it's really great.
and then they've all gotten even pretty much, state recognition for other,
Emily
That's
has
so
projects
is
that
recognized
have
statewide,
been-
yeah,
Oh, that's
and,
great.
so it's,
yeah. We
I
are.
think I am, and I think the board is, we're pretty proud of our staff and
Yes.
proud of the work that Robin does
That's
and
amazing.
supporting them.
Yeah,
Being good people. I mean,
Yes.
for a little library, I think it's like the little engine they could.
Yes.
Indeed.
I think we are in high esteem,
Yeah,
Yeah.
countywide
Amazing.
for our library
well,
so,
even state worldwide. for
and
some of the
state.
stuff.
yeah,
Worldwide on some of it.
even,
Definitely celebrate this.
yeah. So even when the city gets pictured when they had the little bit of over the live, the golf thing at Pumpkin Ridge and, they took a picture of the public official at that time and it was in front of the library, so
Oh,
I had to in the New York Times, so I had to tell my friends about that, that's the library.
That's my life.
Yeah, yeah. So Ally, we all introduced ourselves to Aaron. Do you want to take a minute and introduce
Sorry.
yourself?
I'm glad it was a nice text from Bill that popped up on the
Oh.
screen.
Oh, I didn't see it, darn.
It's okay.
So now the juicy stuff. Hi, I'm Allie. I am just finishing my first term with the board. I am from North Plains. I've lived here almost all my life. I'm an elementary teacher and pretty passionate about early literacy. And I apologize for being late. I was actually on a team for my district to make math a little bit more equitable too. So I am excited to be part of the library board and be part of the community in a positive way. And I can't say enough good things about it.
Okay. And
Awesome.
you're done with the director's report? Any questions about the director's report? Okay, since there are none, we'll move on to this month's library statistics.
Yeah, for March, we did, our checkouts did go up from last year, and I guess we didn't get our hours of free computer use yet. We have to wait for the county for that, so it didn't make it to the packet. And our volunteer hours are down from last year. You know, we have been without a full-time volunteer coordinator for a while, so we'll see that pick back up, I'm sure. But staff hours were down a bit too. We have a vacancy, you know, so we don't backfill that entire vacancy with part-time staff, although we backfill some of it. So that's why those hours are a little, probably a little different, or it could have to do with programming or something. But yeah, basically our month snapshot there.
It is pretty good. It looks like we sent out more.
Yep, we continue to be a
More-
net lender, which means our collection is very popular,
Good.
and gets checked out. We send more books out to other libraries than we get to pick up. And then the other part of our statistical report is just seeing where we are positioned in the county. So you can see all of the checkouts from the county, and we are one of the smallest libraries. And us and banks are usually around the same amount, although we've been checking out a little more than them. I think this past year, a lot of that comes down to us having about double the budget to spend on books that they do. So then that translates into more checkouts, you know. They're really good at picking their books though, and they do, they're a great library.
Okay. Any questions on the statistics? No, okay, the next one is the financial report.
Yeah, so just as of the end of March, and I put a big printout of it on the table, if you wanna see a giant
Oh,
Giant
okay.
version. There you go. It's just a nice visual, so. Man, this is gonna change quite a bit for the next biennium. There's some line items that, I'll clean up the report a bit, but just a few things that I wanna point out is that. For our revenue for this biennium, we don't know about what sort of grants and so forth are gonna be available. We had the great fortune of getting 2 rounds of a Libraries Transforming Communities grant from the American Library Association and the Association for Rural and Small Libraries. Both of those grants were $20,000. So one of them fell into this biennium, and that put that number over quite a bit over what we budgeted. One of them actually was in the previous budget and was part of our beginning fund balance because we received it at the very end of the fiscal year, but we spent it in this biennium. So when you see when we get these kinds of grants, it's restricted what we spend it on. So we can't use it for just our general library operations. So because of that, we have this grant expenditure line that we don't budget to spend anything out of because we don't know, it's just there because you need to show where it comes in, you need to show where it goes out. And so you can see that we've already spent that $20,000 that we got at the end of the last budget cycle. And we've started to, and we got some other grants too. So we've spent the Oregon Humanities Grant and we spent the Ready to Read grant, which we did know about, but I guess we could. Anyway, you never really know with grants sometimes, as we're seeing lately.
And the grants are all basically written for specific,
Right.
for
And
very
so
specific things.
because of that, we have to spend it on what we committed to spend it on, so we don't come to the council and say, oh, we need a supplemental budget to spend this, because we already kind of said we would do it, and one of the good things about the libraries transforming community grants is one of the things we purchased, we would have had to buy anyway, so we're able to kind of get a better version of it with the grant funds. That was our public computers, and that
Oh.
was nice. So that actually saved us too. So that was good. And then I don't know what grants will be on the horizon for this next biennium. It's just hard to say. I'm not sure if we'll qualify for any additional rounds of this one. Now, it depends on how they define small and rural. Because you have to qualify for both of those, and Hillsboro's getting a little close.
Oh. Kind of off the subject, who does the grant writing here? Do you all, you do it all with help?
I've trained some staff, like Emily does the Ready to Read one now. Steve helped a lot with the one that we got from Oregon, the Cultural Coalition of Washington County.
Cause that's a
Or the-
task.
Yeah, it is.
So I didn't quite understand what Hillsboro's getting
Well,
close. I didn't quite understand that.
I guess I have to ask them, because you have to be X amount of miles from the closest metro area. And now,
Oh,
and so what
Oh,
happened
I
was
see.
the Friends looked into applying for a grant and didn't qualify as rural because of Hillsboro was within like 7 miles
Oh, I
or
see.
something.
Yeah.
As the crow flies from like Sunset Ridge, to that corner. So now I'm worried that maybe that, I don't know. I'm just,
So some grants
some grants do it differently.
define or have a definition of a rural area.
Mm-hmm.
And because Hillsboro's come closer to us, that we might not qualify for as many grants as we had before. Okay, makes
That's good to
sense.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that one, and so I'll need to follow up and make sure we still qualify for ALA purposes as small and rural. I'm not sure.
And the other thing is that the importance of friends,
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
our friends, and they've
Mhm.
done an excellent job of,
That's an
I think it
urban.
was 2 years where we were about ready to lose them, but they've
Yeah,
come back strong.
yeah.
Thanks to the new leadership, and
Yeah.
gives the old leadership time to pass it, and they did a great job of passing it on. So David and so they've come to the table, and we're
Yeah.
very appreciative of the support that they.
So their
give us.
donations have been higher than budgeted from the Friends. So we had some great additional grants and additional revenue this budget cycle. That's been good, and that's been really helpful for the library to do some neat things that we wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. And it's all things that the community uses.
Mhm.
Because whenever we get extra funds, it always goes to either more programs or more things to check out or better public spaces. That's where it goes. So I'm gonna go talk more about the budget later, so I don't really have anything else on this report. A few things were kind of strange, like the yellow house utilities,
Oh.
which really Bill said should really come out of the URA budget anyway, since the Urban Renewal Agency owns that house, but the library's been paying for it since we used it as storage and the Friends use it. That won't be the case for the next budget cycle. I think some of their bills some of the library's bills accidentally got quoted to the Yellow House or something, cause
Oh.
I'm sure our budget forecast wasn't that off. So
I was gonna
saying,
say, it didn't seem like. it would be.
no, it's,
Okay.
I think there's just some journal entry issues that we'll fix.
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah, because our library, see how our library bills are way under
Mhm.
utilities for the
Yeah.
library and the Yellow House are over. I think just some bills got
I bet
a
that.
journal entry to the wrong, because they're also only one digit off in the number.
Mhm.
So I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I just haven't had time to look into it. But anyway, our bottom line looks good. We are coming in under budget a little. It'll be close. We did have some COLAs that were more than we budgeted because of the cost of the
Yeah.
high inflation. And so, but we're still looking like we're coming in under budget. For this
Okay.
budget section.
Robin does a good job of managing
Yes,
the funds, so.
I'm always grateful for the detailed reporting.
And-
Makes it easy.
And
We
it's
count
always,
for every penny, I'll tell you.
This
And here is a large,
this is what I do at home.
Yeah,
and she always is a little bit under rather
Yeah.
than over, so we appreciate
That is.
her efforts in
Yeah.
spending the city and the county and the Friends money wisely.
Yes.
And then also the grants that she brings in extra for. So
I'm not
thank you
gonna
for
fit through
that.
the doorway. You keep talking about me like
No,
that.
it's,
Just make the door bigger.
I think it's,
Aw.
well, you have an
Good job.
annex now, so you know.
Sure.
So I don't know if you folks on Zoom know that, but there's a sign out, no longer is this the city hall. It's the library annex.
Yeah,
So
we got the new letters
So
and
we've doubled our square footage or come close to it. So,
Probably, yeah.
yeah,
well, yeah, well, the sign guy said that I should order the metal letters now or because they'd be 50% more expensive. Starting.
Really?
That's why I ordered them at the end of March, because he said April 1st, they would go up 50%. I'm like, okay, we're just gonna do that.
but I usually don't notice things and I drove into the post office yesterday and oh my gosh, big time. Saw that big annex out there, yeah, so, very
I
good.
didn't notice it at all.
I didn't either, now that you mention it, I really.
Well, when I came in before he did, he said, did you see the sign? No, and I walked right past it.
So any other questions on the financials? Okay. Next thing is the county, funding and governance update.
Yeah.
I don't know, Aaron, if you're aware, but the county is, going to a levy to increase the
Yes.
history. And last year, the county, froze our funds. I think we we didn't get as much as we were
Yeah.
anticipated, but the council and the city was more than willing, and we appreciated their efforts in making up the difference.
Yeah.
So we didn't do that. So, we have, as a board, have been following this funding and governance, so we are prepared to help support it within the community. And well, because it is they're gonna make a fairly good, I mean, a percentage increase, a pretty good ask. But
the
it'll be
levy.
interesting to see how the people of Washington County have always been very supportive of the library system, and we hope they continue to be supportive of that. There's some nice libraries in Washington County, I tell you that. So, the update?
Yeah, the update is that there was a work session that Bill and I attended. This is the executive board where the heads of the organizations that have member libraries, so that's the city managers and their library directors, or the nonprofit presidents and their library directors, meet with county administration, and the step we are in for the funding and governance project is figuring out our service area boundaries and our new funding formula for that allocation. So that's really critical work. And it takes a long time. There's another one next Monday. Wait, so next Monday, the 21st, yeah. So it's just, these are 4 or 5 hour work sessions. And what it looked like from this past work session is that they're trying to base the service area boundaries on some other boundary that already exists that gets updated regularly. So they're looking at using like voter precincts. That semi works, but they're kind of weird in that like a voter precinct boundary might go all the way up next to another city or something, and then they're not the same as the elementary school boundaries either. And so for those of us outside of Metro, at least us, Banks and Cornelius, we met with the consultants after the work session, and Bill and I said, and we had talked to them already. Banks, North Plains and Cornelius really want that portion, our elementary school boundaries to be in our service area because we have a relationship with those schools. And the voter precinct kind of had part of Banks School District in our service area. And like, we don't go to the Banks schools. I mean, the librarians do and stuff. And so I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen with that, but whatever does happen, we're not going to have fewer population in our service area than we do now. And that's really the main thing I wanted to.
So they're not looking to see like how many people have library cards here?
Yeah,
And
and
using those addresses and just GPSing it? Doing
Well,
the GIS of it? to
a
get
little
that
bit later
area?
in the meeting, I'll show you some images of where our library is, the home where people live who use North Plains as their home library. But so what I'm trying to say, I guess, is that it's still a work in progress. What the
Mhm.
consultants came with as a suggestion doesn't really work well for us or Banks of Cornelius really. So it's still a ongoing conversation, and we'll talk about it more this coming Monday. And then the first suggestion for the funding formula, I think wasn't bad. It was trying to have like everyone gets this base level of like per 5,000 population. And then there's like incrementally based on the population, you incrementally have
Mhm.
some more funding. And I think that basically works. Personnel's the biggest cost for libraries. And they were gonna add maybe like a multiplier for the non-personnel part, like this is the kind of everyone gets this much for personnel for your first 5,000 of your population. Then there's increments and there's like a 10% multiplier for your materials and services part of your budget or something. And I think, that could work. And for us, it would be in the neighborhood of over 400,000 for our allocation, which is more than double what it is now.
Oh,
And so I had told Bill to plug in 400,000 as our new allocation as a placeholder, a recommendation. He's really nervous to do that because of until we actually sign the agreement, and
mhm.
we don't know what's gonna be in the agreement yet. We don't know.
Cause aren't they taking some workload?
Oh,
too?
yeah, but even the, so they're gonna do that and we're gonna get a bigger. allocation.
That's what I mean,
Yeah.
but so, to me, you're basing, this year, you're basing your budget or your next 2 years' budget somewhat on some unknowns that
Yeah,
because of the
well, that.
WCCLS
Yeah.
funding, basically, how they choose to organize and then how they choose to allocate
Yeah,
funds.
Right.
Thing. Okay.
right, and so Bill doesn't think, so I'll talk a little more about that later, in my next part of the agenda,
Yeah.
which is coming.
Okay.
Next.
Any more questions on
So yep, another work session Monday, but it's
WCCLS?
plugging along. And
Okay,
it's been very civil, which is nice, because it is a big,
A lot
Yeah,
of change.
it's a big, when we're talking about funding, it's a,
when you're moving
You're moving money
boundaries
around.
around, so
Mhm.
somebody's gonna
Boundaries
get
and
more and
money.
somebody's gonna get less.
Mhm.
It's a tough
Let's hope it's
conversation.
not us getting less.
Yeah.
It's not us getting less.
And let's hope
You're
most of
gonna do
all
that.
that the levy passage or we'll be back here all
Right,
again.
right.
Yeah, we're
That's
not
good.
really planning for it to not pass, but
Well,
that's another
I-
reason Bill doesn't wanna count on the new
Yeah.
allocation,
No, but I mean.
because it is contingent on that.
Yeah,
And he's a very smart financial forecaster,
Yeah.
yes.
So because we had the challenge with the public safety levy last time, what is the board's thoughts or plan on how we communicate this to the voters to get support? I'm just curious. This is just me personally asking a question to the voters.
Well, so this is a countywide levy, and it did pass at 69% the last time it
The
passed,
library,
the library
yeah,
levy.
yeah.
And so the WCCLS department of the county will have a coordinated,
Oh, cool. Perfect.
communications and marketing plan for that.
Awesome.
I had a suggestion for it, I'll tell you about stuff, but, and then we will participate in it as
Okay.
we're allowed, with the facts and so forth, but our board will help us advocate. They can go to PAC meetings and participate in ways that I can't. Well,
Mhm.
I
we'll
think,
talk about that more.
Okay.
yeah, I think what
We did
we were
ask
sort of
for-
waiting for was for since it's a county-wide,
Yeah.
was they will come up with a message or how
Oh,
they
yeah.
think we should
Oh,
work on
okay.
passing it.
And
And
they'll have
then to
flyers and-
understand what they expect out of us. And then after we understand that, and then what we could do here locally within our own library district
Okay.
to support it. But we're
Makes sense.
basically waiting for some direction from the county before we
Great.
even really.
Yeah,
put
they'll
it-
have a
Before
plan.
we've really even put it on the table. But
Perfect.
that's an excellent question.
They're doing 2 rounds of
Appreciate that.
polling and.
So we'll see.
And not being elected officials or an employee, we have more freedom
Right.
to be active.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, the rules are a
Where,
little
where you can.
lax. Yes, I have to stay out of it, but I know,
Yeah.
that's why I was kind of curious how you were.
Yeah, there's certain. Because, you live in the community, like if you're representing the whole board body, you can say things. If you say, I'm speaking as an individual who happens to be on the library board, you can say other things. It's just
Yeah.
kind of, we'll review it all when it gets closer,
Yeah.
what we
Sure,
can
we're all
and can't do.
Yeah.
And it is a little different for
Yes.
elected versus appointed, yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
And staff.
Yeah.
So any other questions on the county initiative? All right, we'll move on to budget.
Okay, I actually have a PowerPoint for you, which is not exactly the same as the one you already saw, although it starts the same.
Oh,
So,
totally fine.
yeah. Let me find it.
Is this a budget you're working on then?
Well, this is a little presentation about budget recommendations. And,
And I think when's the budget? July 1st, right?
Is due, yeah.
The first meeting is at the end of this month.
I'll be right back.
sure. Make sure I'm opening the right one. No, that's not it. Okay.
Thank you, David. You got me out of the jam.
What jam?
Well, he took a couple crackers.
You haven't noticed, I only take one at a time, but I'm constant.
Sorry, people on Zoom, I'm trying to, my little thing's not working. Oh, there it is.
I love factors.
And these are healthier,
Yeah. Are they?
because they're gluten-free, no,
Oh.
because of the flaxseed in them,
Oh, okay. They're good.
and they're tasty.
Yeah.
I really don't know if they're healthier.
So me.
Counselor Dunbar just had to step away for a second. But he saw the beginning of this already, so.
I think you can begin.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to,
Overall, do you feel
how to-
comfortable with,
the budget?
yeah,
Well, so it sure works a lot better if I can, include a bigger allocation from Washington County. If I'm having to do, if I'm not,
X?
then,
Get him away from me.
then we're kind of, well, anyway. Okay, that's better. All right. Okay, so, just talking a little bit, and I had to it took me a minute, so I didn't start yet, but basically, when we budget, we are using money to make our mission and vision come true. And we also look at the overall direction of the city, which the council provides, and we make sure we're aligned with that. Our mission and vision and focus areas, we did a strategic plan with assistance from the state library, and we did a lot of community engagement for that process. And our mission is strangely similar to the state library's mission statement that they did after us, so I think they copied us. Anyway, the city council had a retreat to start talking about their vision for the community, and so the draft focus areas are there. And they are, I'd say that we are aligned with that and what we do, and we'll make
So-
sure we are.
So the focus, that's from the
Oh.
council or that's?
Oh,
from the-
no, the one in the little square on this side.
Oh, okay.
No,
I see.
the,
Where it
all
says
right.
city council.
That's what I'm confused. Okay,
Yeah.
so the work that you folks did at your work is on the
Right, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
But personally, I support the others too.
Yeah,
you.
well, good, thank you.
Good
Okay.
answer.
And then what we provide from our library in a given year, you saw this report just a few months ago. That was kind of our usual statistical report, but for a whole year, and you can kind of gives you an idea of what we provide to the community. And then because part of this funding and governance process, there was a community survey, which I think all of you filled out, or board members filled out. We had over 18,000 responses, so that's a really
Oh.
good information. And those who use the library, which was most of the respondents, really agree or strongly agree that libraries are essential in a community. And then for our North Plains specific library, we were able to get some North Plains specific data, although the county owns this data. It was really used to establish a base, like what is the library currently providing. We're able to see the people who, okay, so over 12,000 responses of people who use the libraries regularly, and the ones that said things about North Plains, they most appreciate our resources. And, we are the only copier, printer, faxer in town. We have the free Wi-Fi. We're one of the only places that has that. I think us and McDonald's, I don't know. And maybe a few other places, and of course our it even higher than books is the community and opportunity our library provides. That people were saying that was even more important than the books and audiobooks, although that was also high. So that's pretty neat to see
Yeah.
what people love about North Plains Library. And especially as we go into budget season.
Sorry to interrupt. Are you able to share that tab? Is it easy, or I can just zoom in on the screen? I can't see what you're projecting, but it looks
I
amazing.
shared it.
We're just
It's
looking at,
not?
it's just it's the PowerPoint, but it's stuck on the first slide. I wonder if you're just sharing a different tab.
Oh, shoot. Okay, let me try again.
Sorry to be a pain.
No. PowerPoint slideshow. Let me try this. Is that better?
Yes, that's it. Thank
It
you.
did do that. When I started the slideshow, it did go open a new tab. And I didn't switch it. Thank you, Ally.
Thank
I'm
you.
so sorry about that. So I'll leave it up for just another minute, so you, those of you online can take a look.
Like you could check more than one thing on that,
Mhm.
on this.
I'm trying to remember from when I did it.
When you value most, sounds like a.
So this map shows, the service area that we're designated is that large, on the left. Can you see it, Ally? Did it change to the map?
Good, thank you.
Oh, good, cute.
You got it.
So you can see the little incorporated part of North Plains, that little green area with the red dot. And then we're assigned all the way up to Columbia County on the top and Multnomah County on the side. That's all designated as our service area. And you can see how Hillsborough, city of Hillsborough is even in our service area in the corner. That's the corner I was talking about where they're getting close.
Oh,
Yeah, so these are very old service area boundaries that are being redrawn as part of the funding area.
So that corner is where Liberty High School is in Par?
no.
I think it's Brookwood, maybe.
Yeah, that looks like
I don't,
How,
the elevation.
Hillsborough.
I'm not exactly sure what's there.
no,
Oh,
down,
where
I,
is that Cornelius Tap?
I'd say I'm guessing this is Brookwood here.
oh, okay, okay.
And is that Sunset? Yeah,
Yeah,
I
because we
could,
have
I'm
people
not
on the other
exactly
side of the Sunset.
sure.
yeah, it does look like we only go down to 26 there.
Right, that's the
Oh.
designated service area. Now, if you see,
Fascinating.
yeah, if you see
Lots
on
of
the
people-
other map, you can see where people
Yes.
live who use North Plains as their home library. The lighter green is Banks. Or the darker green, but if you look,
Oh, look at the.
we are the home
spots
library
there.
for people below 26. And part of that reason is because the Folly Ridge Elementary school boundaries go below 26, and we visit all those classrooms twice a year. So they use our library because the kids drag the parents in and say, hey, I got my student card. Yeah, it's interesting. And then on the east of our service area, we see that most people are using the Hillsborough Library. You know, that's fine if they really want to do that. But, you know, I mean,
How far they're in.
it's a bit, it's not as cute. No, I'm kidding. But it's just interesting to see where, because you have the same library card. These boundaries are arbitrary as far as the average library user is concerned. They'll just use the library they want. They did find that over 70% of their respondents, or around 70%, use more than one library regularly.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean,
And
I
I-
use Brookwood once in a
Yeah,
while.
anecdotally, I know that's the case for a lot of people in North Plains. They also go to Brookwood or something.
So the
and-
ones with the lines in it,
Mhm.
is the brown, Hillsborough and
Yeah,
the lines, the brown
Uh,
goes way up there.
I don't remember why the lines are there, but yeah, Hillsborough, that's all where they mainly use Hillsborough as their home library. Mhm. Yeah.
Hmm.
And you know, again, people just use the library that works best for
For
them,
them.
and there's many reasons why one library might, like I use North Plains Library. Where do I live? I live on the eastern side of Washington County, but I use North Plains as my home library. So,
Cause you're here.
and there's a reason for that. I work here, so, you know, you just, yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very interesting, and because of the consulting firm doing this project, we get to see this interesting data. And then here is our actual service area boundary overlaid with the physical checkouts, and the darker the area, the more physical checkouts come from that. These are census blocks. That's what those little
Oh.
areas are. They didn't want to use census blocks in the new boundaries because there's so many of them and they're not, the population isn't updated frequently. So.
Hmm.
But they may end up having to use them just because of. Not sure. But that's just another visual of how our people, our actual use doesn't really align altogether with our current designated service area. Basically the average assessed value and this is just informationally, but just so you kind of know how it's paid for. Because we do require, because our allocation from the county is pretty low and the tax rate is pretty low. It is, on a lot of the general fund for the city to have the wonderful library we have right now. But, we're in the process to change that and even it out a bit better. So when that levy rate goes up, it'll be everyone taking on a little more of the cost of the library is one way to look at it, because if you live in the city limits, you'll, a little less of your property tax will be going to library, may be able to go to something else, maybe recreation or more police or something like that. It's just sort of a way to kind of spread out the cost a little more within that, because you see all the areas that use the library. So right now our revenue for the current biennium is about 1.4 million is our budget for these 2 years that we're about to finish. You can see that the blue is how much we're getting from the city general fund. Our WCCLS allocation is the orange, and then we have some grants and fundraising and donation and so forth. That's the smaller amount there, the green. For the next one, if the allocation stayed the same, that's which Bill said I needed to budget that way. He doesn't watch this recording. He said, but then it would be that, we'd still be having more from the general fund, but if the allocation from WCCLS increases, that would change a bit. So this is how WCCLS's budget is right now. So they have a transfer from the general fund of the county, which we all also pay. I mean, let's not forget, and the local option levy. So their total budget is about 40.5 million. Now that about 13 million goes to their operations, and that's the Libby you're talking about. That pays for Libby. That's all from the central services, that courier that brings the materials back and forth to the different libraries. That's paid out of that 13 million. All the IT, because we have free Wi-Fi. We don't pay for internet in the library. That's paid for by the county. Our online catalog and our library card database and so forth, that's all managed by them. And then they allocate out the rest of their budget, the 27.5 million, to the member libraries. Our allocation is the smallest at 200,000 or so, about $49 per capita. But you're getting more than that $49 per capita in value, because you're also getting that Libby catalog, the courier, the online catalog, all that. But it's just, it is quite, seems like a pretty small amount compared to the whole budget. Here in North Plains, the general fund for this budget, biennium budget, 30% was budgeted to go to the library. And the majority of general fund pays for public safety. That's why we had tried for a public safety levy locally, and that didn't pass. And so that kind of, restricted how much general fund we had to play with. The city's general fund is only 64% property tax. The rest of the general fund is from things like the, every business that operates on the city's right of way, like Garbarino Garbage, all your utilities and stuff, they pay fees to the city, and that's, a big chunk of the general fund too. And then we also have some, like cigarette and liquor taxes and things like that. Or is it, yeah, that we get from the state, I guess. And that's, so the general
Yeah.
fund is, it is mostly property tax, but not, only about 64%.
So the finance and administration, they must have rounded up or down or
Oh.
something, because it shows 0. But Yes.
Yeah, so that is, the reason it is because we're starting to do some good fiscal budgeting practices. Since Bill's been here, every budget cycle, he's made improvements, and to doing better fiscal practices, and finance and administration is something that all the departments use. And so
Mhm.
now it's paid for with a transfer out from the other department.
Oh, okay, so.
And that's a good way to do it. That's how the state does their budget. It's a way to. It's good for
More
transparency to
equitable, yeah.
show. What is finance and administration providing? It's just sort of this black hole where this money goes. No, it's this, the library uses that
This
for, they do our
much, yeah.
payroll, they do our,
Yeah, that
you
makes
know,
sense.
et cetera. So, mhm. Fundraising are 5% of our revenue. These are some of the organizations that we had funding from in this biennium. Our major sources of grant anyway and funds. And then our expenses were aligned with our budget. We did budget to spend a little of our reserves in this biennium because we had done some savings through the pandemic and so forth. I was hoping we wouldn't have to hit that, but I guess we'll see how all the taxes shake out. So for the next biennium, we're looking at, for the next 2 years, a little bit of an increase. And I worked on this more today since I did this slide. Trying really hard to get to a balanced budget without taking more of the general fund, really, unless our WCCL's allocation comes up, it would need to be a little bit more, like 31% to balance the budget and not cut services. So I don't know. We have 5.9 FTE in the library. About 70% of the time is spent on public facing work. So that big blue chunk is that our public service point, and then our programs and our volunteer program. And then our behind the scenes work, management and administration are things like me hiring someone. We don't have an HR department, so I do all that myself, and our communications and which, different staff have a role in, but the big blue chunk there is our collection administration. That's selecting, procuring, cataloging, and processing all the materials people check out. We do that. Every library does that themselves. So with the funding and governance project, that work's going to be centralized. And so we'll see, I skipped ahead. Well, our non-personnel budget, most of it just goes right back to the community because it's the biggest chunks of that are things to check out and programs. And then the cost of having the public space open 52 hours a week, there's some costs involved in that. Oops. I think I was just gonna go to my worksheet in progress for you to kind of show you where I was with actual numbers. So I'll stop sharing this. Do you have any questions about what I presented so far? I was just gonna go to my budget worksheet and talk to you a little more specifically about the areas.
Does anybody have any questions, before we move on to? No?
So, basically what I was working on today, for this coming budget cycle, similar to how we transfer out for, the finance and administration department, we're gonna try to do that for facilities maintenance in this coming budget cycle, because it will help us to have those all in one, all the building facility maintenance in one fund. So as we're doing RFPs for contracts or different things like that, it's sort of easy for the person who's doing that to pull it up. So I was trying to figure out that will be increase some costs for the library because of this building, and that we never had landscaping in our budget before, because it was sort of just city hall landscaping and different things like that. So it does add about $25,000 to the library's expenses.
For the 2 years or? For
I
the,
think it was for 2 years.
yeah, for the buy.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so I was trying to figure out those numbers with Dustin today and so forth. Where's my worksheet? Okay. Oops, sorry. I tried to do a few PDFs so that it'd be easy for me to show you. Oh, snapshot, that's it. Okay. I'm gonna just share this. All right, so see if I can make this a little bigger. So when I'm working on it today, I'm looking at, so this was the budget we had for the current biennium, and I'm projecting what our actual spends are gonna be. Or this is revenue though, so what our actual revenue is gonna be by the end of the year. Also, here highlighted, we were budgeted 30% of the general fund was estimated to be 843,908. The actual looks like we're a little above projected. Bill's really good at estimating. It's coming out of between 6 and 7% above what he projected though for tax revenue. For just various reasons, and so that would make our 30% a little more. And our total budget a little higher. Then as we're looking at these actuals and our revenue for next year, this second year is when our new allocation would start from WCCLS. Well, Bill said leave it the same. What if, levy doesn't pass and our IGA is so terrible we can't sign it, whatever. So if it is the same, then we really do need 31% of the general fund to balance our budget, just because of things out of our control, that the expenses outpacing the revenue, due to taxes only going up 3% a year and that kind of thing. So the difference is only about 41,000 though. And so imagine if, we do get that new allocation, that'll pretty much all be able to just go to funding. It'll offset, that much general fund. That'll be great. And that's what I expect, honestly. So fundraising, we had a fundraising revenue line, and I'm just recommending that be eliminated because we're trying to have the Friends do our fundraising because they're a nonprofit. It's just makes more sense. So they took over our craft fair, which is our big annual fundraising thing. We still get that money. Their nonprofit is organized as such that that's their only objective is to give the library money. And they are all volunteers, so it's totally fine. It helps people to donate to them because it's tax deductible and so forth. It's not tax deductible if you donate to a city. Didn't know if you know that. Didn't know if you knew that.
That makes sense.
I mean, you're already You're already paying the taxes. I don't know why it isn't, but
Tax deduct my taxes.
I guess, right.
Makes sense.
Anyway, so looking at the revenue projection. Again, I'm hoping this highlighted number is more than double. But Bill doesn't want to count on that. We'll see when we go through budget committee, maybe the budget committee will feel differently. But, Bill is trying to be prudent. He, like I said, is very good at forecasting, but he tends to be very conservative when it comes to estimating revenue, which is smart. And then the expense snapshot, I'll pull up. And then I'm almost done. Thank you. Where did you go? Little share button. So, all right, so the pink it's because it's 2 years, 2 separate years, but we have a biennium budget. So I was trying to make that obvious that that's like half, and then the whole over here. You're looking at our personnel budget only having less than 1% increase over last biennium. How is that possible? You may add or ask, because we just added a library supervisor. Well, that is having a portion of my hours designated to general city work, because that's just sort of what's happened since Andy left. So that's having not all of my salary in library. And that's kind of why that stayed flat. But that really does reflect what's actually happening. And the different HR things I'm doing, this different citywide budget things and whatnot. So not sure what Bill's final. I already had some of my salary designated to emergency management because I've done the FEMA certifications and stuff. Yeah, and so as a department head, so there's just some department head things that not all of my salary comes out of library anymore. Then what has gone up quite a bit is 35% increase in the non-personnel budget because of those transfers out I was talking about with paying for the landscaping here through a transfer out. So this transfer out 101,000, that's new. Oops. And that's Bill texting me again. Okay. Come on, it's 7:14, Bill. Relax. So the transfers out we had this biennium are, I scooted that over. Admin and finance, which you saw because they were 0 on the pie chart. They were getting they're getting their transfer out. So the new transfer out is facilities maintenance that we were talking about today. It is the practical thing to do, but it's just hard because it, I mean, yeah, we just weren't paying those expenses before, and we do need the staff space. You know, the bookshop idea out here, I think will be great for the community and so forth. But it's just, those costs are now gonna be transferred from the library budget. What else? And then, just the total expenditure, it looks like a 6% increase overall, which really isn't too bad because of inflation and so forth. 6%'s pretty typical. I think the county budget expenses are going up 6 to 7%, but taxes just lag behind that because of our cap on taxes. And sorry about all the texting, everyone. I know how to do the do not disturb. I need to do that. I'll do it later. But I'm just about done anyway. So you can just see what I've been working on. It's still a work in progress. It's halfway through April. We're gonna have something for the budget committee by the end of the month. And so this will probably change, but It's just by best estimate. So there's things in this budget now, that you won't see next year in the report because it'll be part of the facilities maintenance budget. So it'll simplify what we have and, so I guess that's really the update I have, and then I'm gonna ask for some, sorry, it's messy, it's like just people working way too late is what's happening. So what I also am gonna tell you is that I've said that the library really does need carpet and paint. It's time for the carpeting over this next biennium. That is a capital need we have. And so I have asked them to include that in the capital budget. Also, there's a sidewalk, the crumbly sidewalk really needs to be replaced. And I've asked for a long time, but I feel like it's kind of a safety liability for us. So I'm hoping that can be addressed. Those are the capital needs we have, but does anyone here have anything you're hoping the library will budget for? Or anything you've heard from community members that you feel like that we should include in the budget that you'd like me to include in the draft or talk to Bill about? This budget will maintain our current services. We won't cut hours. We'll have, this is like a status quo budget.
So as the one thing, if the county in the best case where they raised it and we got more, how much would that add to the budget, to the bottom line? Or would it just,
My guess is around 200, about between 200 and 250,000 for the biennium.
okay, so about 100 to 125 a year?
Well, so next year, it won't be in
For-
effect yet.
Yeah, but moving forward then.
Moving forward, it would be over, I'm guessing it'll be like around 450 to 500,000 a
Okay.
year.
And so that extra 100, is the city talking about reducing there?
Yeah, it would offset the general fund
It would
expenses because the idea is that, you have it's not just the people who live in the city are using the library.
Right.
So this is a way that we're gonna even out the cost a little bit. So yeah, it would
Okay,
offset
so-
that general fund amount.
So basically, the budget you're presenting at this time is what realistically, irregardless of those additional funds that will come in.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the cost of a status quo service. If we wanted to add to our service somehow,
Yeah,
I mean, we could, but that's not really the budget situation we're in overall, so we didn't do those kind of scenarios.
yeah.
And there's no talk for some time then about increasing the size of the library building itself.
Well, in
Is
this
that rather?
biennium that we're budgeting for, no, not that we wouldn't start planning for that. We would like to do an expansion. Using this building as additional public space is very challenging from a staffing perspective, because it's
Mhm.
staffing an additional building. That would be quite expensive, but adding on, going back this way from the library or adding an addition. We have a few plans in that downtown improvement plan, a few options. That would be great, because then our public service desk is still in the center. And you wouldn't need to add staffing. So, I mean, this building, unless you took out a wall, you don't have any spaces that are bigger than like our children's area. And the library is a lot more attractive than this building. Sorry.
Yes, indeed.
I know it's City Hall, but
Not
So,
anymore.
I mean, it just wasn't practical to use it for
No.
like library
Mhm.
programs and things. So we think the little store though would be great because it raises its funds, and yes, we do want to expand. So I'm hoping that by the next budget cycle, we'll be able to have something in there to start working towards that.
Okay.
Don't know.
All right, very good. Anybody have any questions on the budget? No, the only thing that I had in my mind is we had talked about expanding.
Yeah.
A little bit of the early reading. Program. so-
Yeah, that will kind of, if we can pass a fully funded budget, I think we'll be able to offer Emily's early literacy series
One
more like twice a year.
Twice a year.
I think so. With between the ready to read funds and our programming budget.
Boy, I hope so, because that's a huge resource.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it really
Yeah.
is. And with this, with the reading, the scores down and.
And then we also, as we talked
Yeah, we need it.
before, we have a little
Clear.
more discretion. With the movement of the book buying. If
Yeah.
it all comes, we have a little more discretion on what we can do with the Friends Fund too.
Yes, that's true.
Or
So they could support.
they
early
could
literacy,
support
more early
it,
literacy.
support
Right.
something,
Yeah.
part of
Yeah.
that more.
Good point.
Yeah.
Okay. Next thing on the agenda is David, or Friends of the Library update.
Okay, were you aware that the Friends used to own the library? That was their
Yes, I
building?
read all the history.
Okay,
But
good.
prepared. I didn't want to come here unprepared.
Yeah, good.
Just a few years.
We just had a board meeting Monday. And I thought I would start out, the funds, talk money. So this year, the fiscal year up until, March, we've raised $13,832.37, okay? We have given up to March, $11,153. Since then, we've bought 2 tables for $2,000, and Monday we, approved $862.50, and I'll probably get her name right,
Brianna,
Brianna, to send her to the training.
the Leadership
nice,
Institute.
nice.
Nice,
Yeah. So, that's all that, so, you know, I don't know if I should be bringing this up, but I'm gonna pursue it. Before I do that, our book sales, for March was $650.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and
So-
their expenditures and stuff, there's other, there's a book cart. Which I don't know if you've seen it out here, that's bringing in 360,
In the library, yeah.
in the library and stuff, so that's what this $650.
They sell books online and then we have the cart in the library.
And we're in the working process of trying to figure out how to do a bookstore out here.
Oh,
So it's just, okay, how are we gonna do this? We've approved a budget, and that's about as far as we've gotten at this
Yeah.
point.
and within the annex or?
It would be
Yeah,
out
little
out here.
bookstore out in the reception area,
Oh,
old
okay.
reception area.
Cool idea.
Yeah.
Bill, the
Would you be
proposal,
doing coffee too?
yes, yes,
Yeah,
Oregon Coffee Roasters, that's what Susan said.
yeah.
But, the Friends did a wonderful proposal, Bill was very impressed with it, and now we're looking, finding out what sort of insurance the Friends would need
Right.
to invite the public in and, like, just to make sure that our underwriters, basically, I heard back of what the insurance needed to be, but we're still waiting on like the risk management
Yeah.
department.
And it's doable,
Oh, yeah.
that's very reasonable.
And the books that aren't worth it to post online, because you wouldn't make enough money. You
Yeah.
could sell in the bookstore instead of having to store them for the Garlic Festival.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so would the cart become the bookstore?
I'm gonna negotiate with Susan for a smaller cart, just so it takes less of a footprint in the library, but we can still have a cart.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, you still would have the,
Just as a teaser,
It works.
hey, you can buy it, you can go next door to the bookstore.
okay.
Here's a few items.
during Christmas, we had a display, I don't know how much is made, $400 and some or something like that.
From the
So,
craft
from the craft fair,
No, it was over 1,000.
really, is that? Oh, wow,
Wow.
I'm pretty sure.
yeah, I think you may be
I
right.
think it was near 1,000 anyway.
Yeah.
That's what paid for the tables, or at least part
Oh,
of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, we're very focused. I am really excited with Friends of the Library. We've got a good group
Yes.
that is, dialed in, we're active, we're excited, we've got great leadership.
Yeah. Talk about community engagement too.
Yeah.
Wow. All kinds of people involved
Yeah,
in the community.
so, oh, something else we did, and I never did really understand it, we paid for breakfast for the employees, and it was an employee day.
It was our in-service day. That was
In-service
library
day.
workers day.
So the Friends paid for breakfast and all of that, so, we're totally dialed in, and you've been a part of the Friends, or,
I put money out for it.
oh, Donna has.
Yeah,
Donna
Donna,
has.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
And Sheila is a member at large, one of our staff.
yeah, so it's pretty,
And
and,
my family's a member.
yeah, so it's pretty exciting. We're doing a lot of stuff. One of the things we're, looking at is right now, we're gonna do a membership drive, I think in October. You guys members of the Friends of the Library? It's real cheap, $15 for a single person.
I think
25 for a
I've done
family.
it. I don't know if I am right now. but
Well, you
yeah.
need to. There's a nice webpage,
They have a new webpage.
easy to do.
I really loved the presentation about the different membership levels and how it's gonna be like short
Well,
story, novel. you
That's
know,
what I was
stuff
gonna
like
bring
that.
up next. We're looking at, at,
Tiers.
she's saying it's membership levels.
Mhm.
Oh,
So that, instead of just the 15 and 25, there'll be other levels in there.
And I go to the meetings as an ex officio,
She does,
or like, I guess, or staff liaison or something.
an active member.
And
So, I guess, am I forgetting anything?
no, that you recapped it real well.
I think we're looking at different things to have a table out. Like the garage sale,
The citywide garage.
the car,
sale,
yeah, the car
Oh, that's
sale,
kind
the
of
car,
Yeah.
they do a car show. Ice cream social, they'll be out here on the street.
Yeah.
One of our big projects will be vacating the yellow house, cause
Yeah.
we've got all, have you ever been over there and looked?
I walked by, I've never been
You should
inside.
go in,
Oh,
okay.
you've never been in?
And
Yeah.
You should get it,
I'm trying to be careful
you should
about
get a tour,
making
but,
sure I don't go places without.
oh,
making
we
sure I'm
could,
good.
we could bring us, a staff person could bring.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll come to the library.
I
Um,
could take you.
Yeah.
so, but that also has to fit in that area up on the other side of the wall here, the
Yeah.
inventory. We've gotten it down quite a bit.
Yeah.
We
We have some ideas for that.
Yeah, so,
and they'll do their work over here.
Yes.
Here at
Yeah.
Amazon and
Yeah.
the yellow house will be
Yes,
yeah,
done.
in the office up here,
Yes.
where Bill used to be, will, and Lori, that'll be our computer room. We
Yeah.
can lock it up.
and they can like price their items in
Yeah.
there and stuff like that.
So, I'm on the board and I do the shipping.
Yeah.
So that's my position. Guess any questions?
Any questions?
Oh, I have,
No.
when do you think you'll fully move out of there? Is there a
Um,
date you have to be? out of there
There's
by?
no date right now. It's just trying to coordinate.
Yeah.
I mean, it just,
And the other city departments haven't fully moved out of here yet,
Oh, so.
so that's another moving
Yeah.
piece.
um,
After the garlic fest though?
yeah, oh, yeah, I think.
Oh,
I'll
then
get
you'd
that.
have a whole lot less,
Well,
Stuff.
so right now we use the books for our, when we list a book, we go online and kind of look on Amazon, oh, what are they going for? Well, if it's like pennies, they get stored into the garage over there.
Mhm.
And that's gonna be an issue. I think they're looking at storing the books back here where Public Works used to store their equipment. The thing is that's not, heated or anything.
We'll
so-
figure that out later,
Yeah,
cause you can
see-
still
see-
use the yellow house garage for now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Oh.
but that's kind of the issue. And those books go out to the, the Garlic Festival.
Mhm.
The sad point was that all the books that we didn't sell, we can't take back, and there used to be a company that would buy them. They don't anymore.
Oh,
And so they got this big dumpster and it was just really sad. We filled it up. And this year there's
you threw
other,
them all away?
yeah.
Oh,
I know, it's really, really sad,
yeah.
The ones that didn't
the
sell.
ones that didn't
And so
sell.
another nice thing about having a store is that there'd be a spot
place
for
to
them,
get rid
they
of them.
wouldn't have to do that.
So that's part of the deal, so, we need donated books, especially ones that we can, sell. The money just comes back to us.
Right.
Yeah, it goes
I'm,
back to the library.
I'm not saying anything, but when you're talking about the needs, like a new carpet and stuff, we've got $42,000. Seems to me like we could,
Well, we'll,
This place probably needs a bit of fixing up.
no, we're not gonna put more into this until we know kind of,
Oh, okay,
but the friends may fix, we'll fix stuff up for the store.
yeah,
But, we don't know yet what's feasible really to do with this building until it's evaluated, but,
but I was thinking, you're
But
saying you
yeah.
need a new carpet?
if we, so say
Yeah,
it gets Xed out of the capital budget or something, then I probably will be asking you for it, but. You know, it's a city facility and the city. That is something that, but thank you,
well, it used to be when the Friends owned it, it was our responsibility.
yes. Well, the city when you friends built it, the city committed to operating it as a public library and maintaining it.
Yeah,
That was a city responsibility. So,
so,
I
okay,
know.
that's all I have.
Any questions? Okay, Aaron, it's your turn.
oh yeah,
Your
if
turn,
you have any
Aaron?
city updates for the group, because you introduced
Um,
yourself, but this is your
yes.
chance to like give updates.
No real updates, other than, well, obviously budget. It's kind of,
Yeah,
which we're all super stoked about.
tune in for all the budget committee meetings, everyone.
We gave that task to Larry.
That's true.
Yeah,
Larry is on
that's
the,
fair.
we have some
Give us a
crossover.
summary.
We have some crossover and yeah, Larry can, but I mean, still, it's good to know what's going
No,
on.
it is important. I shouldn't
Yeah.
joke about this. I actually enjoy budgeting, so I think it's fun.
I'm on the committee
yeah.
also, by
Oh,
the
yeah,
way.
that's right.
So yeah, no major updates. Have appreciated Robin sharing kind of some of the things. What I would ask though, Bridget, you brought up, there's a lot of things the library does that people don't realize. Could you share a couple, like 2 or 3 things that I could take back to the council to kind of
Oh,
explain?
well.
I just thought it'd be something for me to do.
Just the whole updating of the computers, so people that have
Oh, yes.
any disabilities can come in and use them.
Yeah,
Um,
And you mentioned copy print fax. I like
yeah,
that.
we're the only place in town. You can do free fax and scan. Printing, the first few pages are free too.
I don't know if we're
Copies?
still doing it with the senior center where so many books are over there for them to check out without having to. We used to do that. I don't know if we do that
Not
anymore.
Our library doesn't do it, but there is a books by mail program with the county.
Okay,
So books by mail for the county for people who can't get to the library.
We have our hotspot.
yeah, you can go sit
Yeah,
in
you
your
know,
car outside.
Oh, yes.
We have 24-hour high-speed internet,
Yeah.
even it's 200 feet outside the building.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
and one of our strength, or I believe our strength is our early childhood.
yeah. Or
Both,
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
I mean,
huge.
our reading, our story time.
If you have free
And
time.
so that would,
yeah.
I mean, that's the.
Mhm.
Bop over
that-
there sometime, Wednesday mornings, Friday morning.
Wednesday morning, Friday morning. You could watch Emily's presentation on last month's recorded library board meeting.
Oh,
But Mandy was in that one
Yeah.
and heard it, but Emily did a great presentation.
I mean,
There's a great turnout for that too.
all the data that I've ever read or anything that I've read that, the sooner that you start young people reading and being that, the more chance they have for success
Right,
in their lives. And so, I mean, our focus on the early, I think is extremely important.
Agreed.
And I think that North Plains City, through the library, supplies that as something that they should take a lot of pride and credit to, because you're really filling a big need
Yes,
Right,
for,
'cause so many
for the
people-
community.
People can't afford to send their kid
Yeah,
off to
right.
preschool to get them ready for
Yeah.
kindergarten.
and this is a preschool desert, this
Yeah.
area,
Mm.
preschool and childcare desert, so
Yeah,
we're one of the few, you know.
so
And
I,
another good thing is we have a variety of languages for some of the
Oh,
books.
yes.
Yeah, you can get,
Spanish, Hindi.
yeah, and we've expanded our celebrations, cultural celebrations
Yeah,
for
I
the
noticed
different communities that are now, as North Plains grows, that are
Yeah.
now being, part of our community, and that's part of it. We discussed that quite a bit in our vision and mission statements.
Yeah.
That's why we looked at that we could be a source, to help
Mm.
bring the diversity of the community together.
yeah, include everyone in the community and
love
help people
Yeah,
understand each
so that's-
other.
And,
Yeah.
and another, the books that I kind of like, which is over in the children's section, they're the Wonder Books. So you can get something in Spanish and it'll be reading it to you. So if you're trying to learn Spanish,
Oh.
it's a children's book.
Yeah, we have
So
bilingual,
Yeah.
but, or for parents who can't read English, it reads the
Mhm.
book in English.
Mhm.
You know, so they could still read to their
That's
kids,
cool.
but it has the audio,
Yeah.
so they're really a great tool.
They are.
The one question I have, it came up a little bit here, but I served on the Downtown Planning Commission 2 years ago as a
Okay.
representative of the
Yeah.
of our board here. Now, what is that, I,
The
is
downtown
that been put
improvement
on the
plan.
shelf, or is it still?
You're talking about the URA?
No,
No.
the
no,
downtown
the
improvement plan.
Plan, where we talked a little bit about there was different plans to move City Hall across the street.
Oh.
There was widening the
Improve the
sidewalks,
downtown.
down.
Well, they're.
I understand
Let's call it a
finance,
strip
but I
mall.
mean, is that, I guess I'm asking, is it on a shelf? Or is it
So
to be discussed at a later date, or is it,
I
put away to bed?
I can't speak on behalf of the entire council, so I'll speak for myself, just so I'm being clear.
That's fine.
What I asked Bill, and I've asked the council to do is, let's get through budget season.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of people that haven't been through a budget. I've done a few for different nonprofits that's similar and working for the military, so. I know what we're about to get into, and I know how stressful these things are, so
Yeah.
I said, we have to get this done by July, so let's get that done, and then we'll figure everything else out past July.
Okay,
But I wanna make sure that we give that the time.
Yeah.
I have brought that up, but it kind of got shelved briefly. I want to look at that. I also want to look at cause we need to renew the urban rural district as well.
right,
Mhm.
But I'm trying to just get everybody through budget, and then I wanna
Okay.
all convene the URA board meeting to deal with that side of it, and then we need to do a work session on the improvement plans. I've read through those.
uh-huh,
And I think they're important. That's something that we came here for, is I want downtown to be like, I want it personally just to be like a place where everybody just hangs out.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was one of the
Yeah.
focuses,
Big push,
the
yeah.
focuses of the community, and it was also a focus of one of your things off to the right.
Yes,
And that was what plus, everybody wants a new grocery store. It
Mhm.
worked. So what I'm hearing you say is right now the focus of the council is to get a 2-year budget put together, and then when that together,
always
you'll reassess
Change
where you are
budgets.
and the
Yeah.
priorities. And
That's-
you'll readjust your priorities
That's
at
what
that
I'm-
time.
that's what I'm pushing for
Yeah.
personally, is let's just get this done, get the budget out the door so that we can not
Then
stress
focus,
about that, because that's gonna be a lot of work.
Yes.
And then, once that's done, let's prioritize what needs to be done. And to me, personally, yes, downtown is very important to me because I live just over on North and I love walking out here. And I would love it to be more, well, downtown.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So that's my personal.
there's a
goal.
lot of
Yeah.
cool ideas in that.
I'm kind of chuckling here, because it's been a 35-year project that I have personally been involved in.
yeah. I remember being there.
It's-
That had
We'll
come up
get
a
there.
little before.
It's only gonna
And-
take some
and-
35
and the
years.
farthest we've gotten is a yellow stripe.
Well, that's progress, come on.
So, I mean, the biggest progress to me has
We
been.
did get
The library.
we did get the the building's painted here.
Well, yeah, that would
Well,
look so much better with
Yeah.
those murals.
Oh, the murals are
Yeah,
so
Pretty
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
They're fun to walk by.
And
But
then, but the new
But it's
water,
always
where
been about
everybody's
the
moved,
reservoir.
and I just wondered how that
Yeah.
was.
it's always been about
a
money.
change, yeah.
Money.
What?
It's always been
Oh, it's
about
always,
money.
yeah, that's,
Sure.
Well, and I think that's part of the,
Why
how
the
do I say
budget?
this? It's part of the dichotomy of living in a small town. Everybody wants to keep taxes low and everybody wants more services.
Yeah,
And so what I try to remind everybody is you can have everything you want, you just gotta pay for it.
yeah,
Right.
So that's why to me, budget committee will be so important, because I think it will be eye-opening for a lot of people that haven't done that before, because I think they'll start to understand, oh, if we want to do this, it costs. So
Right.
what is the priority?
And how do we get that money?
And that's what I like,
More businesses.
the library as a center of, for gatherings and events is important to remind people of as we're going through these things,
Yeah.
I think personally.
yeah,
That's why I'm trying to take some notes of things to take back to council and to budget committee when we get there. Say, hey, here's some things that we're hearing from different groups.
yeah,
How do we fit this into what we need to do as a team?
yeah,
very good,
It doesn't mean we're gonna get anything done. I'm just saying I'm gonna share these things.
yeah.
But that helps, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, but no, the downtown improvement to me is pretty important. But again, I'm one of 7 and we'll see where it goes and hopefully we can, we get another yellow stripe. How's that? So we have 2.
Repaint it.
We doubled the progress.
But I think you're right. For people that have never gone through a budget
It's-
process,
yeah,
it'll be a real eye opener, the amount of work
Yeah.
it takes to begin with. And then,
Well, how tight it is.
yeah.
it is a tight budget, yeah,
But there are, you've got the new building where everybody's moved to, you've got new sidewalks.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's not there,
Things have
you've
happened.
Yeah.
got Jesse May, you got a beautiful new park
Yeah.
over there. I mean, there's a lot of,
That is lovely.
I think there's a lot of stuff that has happened that is,
Oh,
since I've lived here, that have added,
yeah. Adding the
added a
gas
lot of
tax,
quality
helped
to
get
the
sidewalks.
city. I just was
Yeah.
wondering
The new
what the
playground.
city's priorities are now, and I understand your priorities, and I support, get a budget and then take a breath and then see where you wanna
Yeah.
go from there,
Yeah.
yeah. Very good,
That makes sense.
yeah, so. Okay,
Thank you, everybody, oh,
well, is there anything else for the good of the order? Okay, thank you, next meeting is
next meeting is May 21st.
May 21st. Do we have to vote on that? or
No.
I didn't think,
It's a good.
You can just adjourn, you don't have
Okay.
to have a motion, just,
no,
and the next meeting's just, we could always change it and then you would need a motion.
Yeah,
But
okay.
the standard.
So we'll adjourn for the night. Thanks for everybody for their participation. Enjoy the sunshine and the nice weather,
Thank
because as
you.
we all know, it can disappear in a day.
Yeah.
In an hour.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. These are fun. These are interesting. I like them.
Well,
I'm gonna have
Um,
another